Hi, this is Jason with Cognitive Code. This is Lesson 5 of the SILVIA Studio 3 Quickstart tutorials, Prompts and Decisions. In Lesson 4, we use scripts to forward SILVIA from behavior to behavior for making acquaintances and telling a simple joke. In this lesson, we will get further into scripts to make SILVIA track questions and analyze a user's input. Load the brain file that we are working on in Lesson 4. Use the file menu if you're not using the Load Last on Launch feature.
Happy Monday. My name is Sylvia. What's your name?
Open the Ask Name behavior and take a look at the exuders. See the one where Sylvia asks for a name. Mark the exuder as a prompt by checking the Prompt checkbox in the bottom left corner of the exuder. Prompts will automatically save to Sylvia's variables. Open the state monitor because we want to watch some variables when we retest the boot behavior. You can sort the state monitor by pressing the sort button up in the top left corner. It can go by post order or alphabetically forward or reverse. Test the boot behavior by sending a message to Sylvia saying test boot. This should trigger that exuder that we just marked prompt.
Hello world. My name is Sylvia.
Check the state monitor and look for the prompt variable.
What's your name?
Exuder prompts are logged on output from Sylvia. Their format goes behavior ID, group, name, and exuder ID separated by commas. Open the name behavior now and view the absorbers. Mark that absorber as a prompt as well. Since absorbers are input and they usually come from a user, they save to the variables as user prompt. Now add a new exuder to the name behavior. Set its text to read $_u, comma, you've asked me that before, period. We'll set up scripts so Sylvia can tell whether this was a new question from you or if you've already asked it. Now, on the original exuder, click the scripts button in the top right corner. This will edit the exuder scripts for that specific exuder. Set the script layer to validation. Exuder validation happens just after behavior validation. If exuders validate true, then they may be chosen. If false, they will not run. So, in the script field, go ahead and insert the validate bool snippet. This piece of code uses what's called an if conditional to make a decision about something before returning. Set the comment on line 4 to read, check if asked before. On the next line, insert the core get variable snippet. We'll use it to test the user prompts and see if something showed up. Change the return string's name to prompts_info. Change the variable to get to $_user_prompts. This is a variable that has the history of all prompts that came from you. Now let's set the if conditional, and you'll want to follow along on the screen, but it reads if promptsinfo.contains, quote, default comma name, or if promptsinfo equals null. What that means in English is if they've asked for their own name before, Sylvia will know. Since this behavior can go two ways, this response is supposed to be for when they haven't asked the question before. So if we detect that, we're not going to use this exuder. Set the bottom comment line to read if this question hasn't come up before. If it hasn't come up, then Sylvia is allowed to use this exuder. Now select the entire script field and copy it. Make sure you get down to the last bracket because brackets left hanging open is a very common script error. Switch to Exuder 1 by going to the Exuders menu up in the top right corner of the script editor. You'll see it next to the View Exuder Scripts button, which should be lit up. Now paste that script in that we just wrote. We're going to reverse some of it. Let's change a couple things in the if conditional. The spot where there's the two pipe characters, change that to two ampersands as in and change the double equal sign to exclamation point equals as in not equal. Now change the returns. Set the first return to true and the second return to false. Now click the Compile Scripts button because we're ready to test it. Open the state monitor so we can watch it while we test the new scripts. Send Sylvia a message saying, I'm your name here to introduce yourself before we start asking her for your name.
Hello Jason. Nice to meet you.
Now send Sylvia a message saying, what's my name? She'll answer. Ask it again though.
It says here that your name is Jason.
FYI, in the Brain Controls panel, you can hit the up and down arrow keys to go through your prior chat messages and send them again quickly.
Jason, you've asked me that before.
Again, in the state monitor, you'll see the user prompts variable shows the default name question showed up. Both absorber and exuder prompts use the same format of behavior ID, group, name, and then record ID. Now we're going to work further on the knock knock joke. Open the knock knock to behavior. Since we're using bypasses to move between these behaviors, we need to use scripts in between them that look at the user said variable to analyze it. Add another exuder to the knock knock to behavior and set its text to read, you're supposed to play along, period. Now, on the first exuder, click the scripts button to open the script editor to that specific exuder. The script layer should still be set on validation. Go ahead and paste that block of code in. Change the comment on line 4 to read, "Get what they said before deciding what to say back." Change the get variable line so that the string's name is user said, and change the get variable parameter to $_user _ said. Change the if conditional so that it looks for user said instead of prompts info. User said contains the last input that the user sent. We want to see the word who in there. Change the contains parameter from default name to just who, WHO. Keep the quotes around it. Change the logic symbol from the double pipe character or to $&, and. Now change the second condition to read user said dot contains and in parentheses put quote there. Change the return in the if conditional to true. We want to use this exuder if we get the right words. Now set the bottom comment line to read, "If we don't find the right phrases, reject this exuder." Change the last return to false because we're trying to reject it if they didn't say the magic words. Now copy the entire script field and go back up to the exuders menu and switch to exuder number 1 at the top right. Now paste that script into exuder 1's validation spot. With a couple of edits, we'll see that the user isn't playing along, and then we'll be able to do something about it. Now in the if conditional, change the $& and back to a double pipe character or. Change the return of the if conditional to false. In the bottom comment line, just replace the word reject with "we can use." Set the last return to true. Then set the script layer to post exuder. If the user isn't playing along, we're going to jump back to the beginning of the joke. In the post exuder script, insert the general invoke snippet. Insert the brain set jump snippet. In the set jump command, change the group parameter to default and the name parameter to knock_knock. This will send the user back to the start of the joke. Just a note about the snippets, many of them come with extra line breaks so that you can insert them cleanly in the middle of things. You end up having a couple extra returns here and there, or maybe an extra comment line, so you can delete those. We're done with that, so open the knock 3 behavior now. Add a new exuder to knock 3 and set its text to read, "You're messing up my delivery here, period." We obviously can't let them just slide by after checking them on the first round. Now that that's in, edit the scripts on exuder number 0 by clicking on the scripts button in the first exuder there. Computers generally start counting at 0. Set the script layer back to validation, then paste the script in. This time, we need to check for Sylvia's current name, not just 2 words. We need to get Sylvia's current name, whatever that may be, so on line 5, insert the core get variable snippet. Change the string's name to AI name. Change the variable to get to $_A. In the if conditional, change the $& and to double pipe character or. Now change the second condition to read user said dot contains AI name with no quotations around it. This is a string that we just defined. Now copy this whole script because it'll save us on typing. Go to the exuders menu in the top right of the script editor and switch over to exuder 1, and then we'll paste that script into there and edit it. Switch the returns so that the first return is false and the second return is true. In the bottom comment line, just replace the word reject with "we can use." Now go back over to the knock 2 behavior and go to the post exuder script and copy it. Take that copied script and go over to knock 3's post exuder for number 1 and paste that in. Now click the compile scripts button because we're ready to test it. Now open the variables and watch them while you test the knock joke with Sylvia. Sylvia's system variables maintain all the information about the current and the previous behaviors, as well as prompts and other things that get posted regularly upon update. Send Sylvia a message asking about jokes. That behavior is the only one that uses the word jokes, so you can pretty much phrase the question however you want and you'll get that response.
Knock knock.
Sylvia starts with that joke we've heard before. Now try to get out of it by not playing along. You'll see she keeps looping you back to the beginning of the joke.
You're supposed to play along. Knock knock.
Go ahead and ask Sylvia who's there so that she'll progress further through the joke.
Sylvia.
Sylvia is expecting you to say Sylvia who, otherwise Sylvia is going to start the joke over. You can try to get out of it if you like.
You're messing up my delivery here. Knock knock.
Now go through the whole sequence with Sylvia by asking, who's there? Sylvia who?
Sylvia. What do you mean Sylvia who? I already told you.
Again, this pattern of behavior is very useful for security, it's useful for maintaining continuity in a discussion, and it's useful for making sure that people give you the exact kind of input you're looking for when you need to fill something out. You can use the if conditionals and validation scripts to prepare and isolate behaviors that Sylvia executes on any number of other things like a piece of data, an outside script, other inputs from other AIs, etc. You're done. Save the brain file. It's worth noting that Sylvia did all of this work without knowing what any of these words mean. In the next lesson, we'll cover concepts and relations to begin fleshing that out.